Hey, what's going on? You're here with E-Tech Millie, and what we're going to be talking about is the NPR. So we're going to go over a few things about the NPR. The purpose of this meeting that we got going on is to talk about the pros and cons of having the NPR, why people actually get it, that type of thing. Just a little bit of brief history about the NPR, as well as just talking about the if you're going to swap out an engine that may not be the same year. The one I'm gonna use because we are gonna be doing it tomorrow, as far as actually finishing off, is a 98 to 2002 NPR exchanging the engine. All right, so we're gonna really go into the exhaust system as well as talking about slight differences that you may need to watch out for. So let's go ahead and start off. We're also going to watch a couple videos. I love videos. All right. So the Isuzu NPR, the best and worst. The years that we're going to be focused on is 1997 to 2002. All right. We're going to talk about the manufacturing, the pros and cons, and the best use cases. All right. All right. Manufacturing background. Um, hmm. So produced. Hold on one sec. Let me change this background a little bit. All right, produced by Isuzu as part of the N series cab over trucks. All right, so cab over means that you're actually driving over the engine itself. That's one reason why if the engine is like gets hot, you're gonna get a hotter cab experience. It's not like the engine is in front like most types of trucks, so it's a little different. The years we're covering again is 97 to 2002, pre-emissions heavy era. This is manufactured in Japan and the US, designed for commercial and fleet use. It's a COE, again, cab over engine, designed for tight urban maneuvering. If you're ever driving a Isuzu NPR, you're going to notice in that the maneuverability is so beautiful. All right. So the engine options. So as you know that you can get a gas or diesel. All right. That's the biggest thing. When we talk about the gas version, it's going to be a GM engine. That's what you're going to be working with. A 5.7 liter Vortec V8, most common in US. And then also the diesel version, the Isuzu 4-cylinder turbo diesel option is simple mechanical design compared to newer models, minimal electronic compared to post 2003 trucks. One thing that you can say about the GM, if you are looking for a book, you might have to look for like the actual GMCs. Let me see. What is the type of trucks they are the engines again? GMC engine types. Let me check real quick. I remember it. I think it's Sierra. If my memory serves me correct, but same time, I don't like to provide false information. Yeah, it is. So the ones that have direct engine matches would be the 96 to 2002 GMC Savannah 2500 or 3500, or the 1996 1999 GMC Sierra 1500 to 3500. Also, the 1996 to 1999 GMC Yukon, as well as the 1996 1999 GMC Suburban 1500 to 2500. They all have the same block, the same internals, same heads, crank pistons, as well as the ignition system, same sensors generally. Important, what is not the same, the exhaust manifold and the EGR tubes, accessory brackets, serpentine belt rotating, oil pan and pickup, NPR specific options often. Also, the cooling hoses, engine mounts, as far as the long block, they're the same. The bolts on, often different. Best donor vehicle, If you're looking for parts for it, the best one to look for is the 1996 to 2002 GMC Savannah or the Chevy Express 3500 5.7. The reason why, because it has a commercial chassis, just like the NPR. It has similar duty cycle, the closest exhaust and accessory layout, best reference for belt rotating sensors, ignitions, intake components. All right. So when you're looking at it, what is not, if you are working with a gas, the diesel is not going to be the same. If you actually look under the hood, it looks completely different. Also, the Isuzu Trooper, the GMC 6.0, the GMC 4.3 V6, and any LS base engine. That means like the 5.3 or the 6.0 LS. Bottom line, the 1997 to 2002 Isuzu NPR is essentially a GM 5.7 Vortec with the VIN R. Use the GMC Savannah, Sierra, Yukon 96 to 99 as engine references. Expect chassis specific differences on exhaust and accessories. All right. So let's get back to it. So when we talk about the pros of the NPR, all right. So some of the pros that we can find from this vehicle will be extremely durable commercial chassis, tight turning radius, excellent for city work. Again, if you're in an NPR, when you turn that wheel, you can get in tight places that you can't. That's the reason why this truck has been like one of the best in town short haul trucks you can find. Is an easy engine access via tilt cab, strong aftermarket and parts availability, can run hundreds of thousands of miles with maintenance. You have to make sure it's maintained properly, because if it's not maintained properly, it will break down on you. Also, the NPR is really not meant for long hauls. That's the reason why it has a common issue with overheating. But we're probably going to talk about that when we talk about the cons. So yeah, we're talking about the cons. So it's a rough ride compared to pickups. This is a con. It's limited highway comfortability, because when you have to actually take a rest or break, you actually have to sleep sitting upright in a 90 degree position. It might tilt a little bit back, but it doesn't tilt back at all. And then after that, if you have someone else riding with you, you can't lay across the seats. If you are driving on your own, you can then lay across the seats, or you're going to have to get a hotel room or sleep in the trucking rest areas or anything of that nature. If you're riding with people, it's like it's a tight fix. Long story short, gas models consume more fuel under load. That's one thing that, if you notice, if you're ever driving the NPR uphill, especially if you have a load, your gas will not go far. Although if you are traveling with lightweight, it seems like the gas will go as far as it can. It's like you would see the difference. You might be able to scratch 15 miles per gallon when there's nothing under and when it has no load. The cab heat and noise higher due to engine location. Again, this is what I'm referring to when it talks about the comfortability. When you're dealing with a cab that has an engine over it, when the cab is over the engine, all of the heat, all of the noise, any kind of shakiness you're going to feel is going to be vibrating your butt. So another thing that's very common, rust can be an issue on older frames and cabs. So that's one thing you have to watch out for, is when you see a lot of rust on them. All right. So what the 1997 to 2002 NPRs are best for? Okay, let's look at it. So when we talk about the NPR, it's best for local delivery routes. Again, it is for the end. It is when you are done with the long haul. the NPR is not great when you talk about long hauls, but when you are at a delivery spot, that is when the NPR is great. Understand that the NPR normally is not over 18 feet. It comes in sizes as small as 6 feet, I believe, to 18 feet. It's not a 20-foot or more. So if you are delivering, you only have 18 feet. Now, you might be able to say you have 20 feet. Who's going to really measure that extra 2 feet? All right. So oftentimes it's going to be a box truck or a cube van build. It's going to be great for moving services, food trucks, and mobile businesses, as well as hot shot and short haul freight. Now, one thing about when you're working it as a customized vehicle, I feel like you see that people use them for a lot of different reasons. For little trash ones, I've seen trash ones on the road, dump, like the dump type style. I've seen the agriculture where you see the people with the lawnmowers and the work crews where they have it that way. It's a lot of different reasons to have it. So let's talk about why many prefer the 97 to 2002 models. So one of the reasons why people might prefer this year's is because it has less emissions equipment than newer NPRs, easier to diagnose and repair, lower ownership costs over time, more tolerant of heavy daily use. So one thing about using an NPR, when we talk about it being less emissions equipment than newer NPRs, if you have any kind of experience in the logistics business, you know that after like 2014 or 15, they start coming up with this thing called what is it called again? DEF. And DEF is really cow piss. And they really did it so that they can sell cow piss, because let's face it, they're kind of greedy. They want all the money, and that's just how they do. Now, it is easier to diagnose and repair because you're not dealing with as many sensors. One thing I love about the NPR is the fact that you don't have to really be in tight places. Whenever you're working on the tight positions, like if you're watching me when I'm working with the F350, it's always tight. After I'm done with the NPR and the F350, I get both of them on the road. I'm then going to work with the F150 that is new. Now the F150, if you look at it inside, it is open. It's easy to replace things. It's maneuverability. Unlike the F350, which is tight, it's a big engine and a small engine compartment. So in a sense, the NPR, since it's a cab over, you can touch everything. It's right there. It's so easy to fix. You can fix on the side of the road if you have to. Please believe I have experience with that. It's not the greatest. And if it's 40 degrees, you're not going to love life. All right, let's move on past that. Let's not talk about the horror times. All right, so one thing about it is lower ownership costs over time. You can find these NPRs for dirt cheap versus the other box trucks that you might run across, or the other trucks. When you think about owning a NPR, I've seen some as low as $1,500 that are for sale. I've seen some that is up to $30,000. Now, it is on you and how you want to spend your money. If you are not a mechanical minded person, you may have to spend $10,000 for a good one. But if you are mechanically inclined, $5,000, that's that number you might need to look for. No more than five. You're looking for 2,500, but no more than 5,000. And if you get it for less than 4,000, please believe you're gonna have to put a little extra work into it. Now, it is more tolerant of heavy daily use. So when you are using this, if you were to do long hauls, which I don't recommend, but if you were to do long hauls, you're going to have to take mini breaks. I suggest taking after 3 hours a break, because if you don't, the exhaust system, you're going to see cracks in the exhaust manifold. That's one of the things that's probably going to happen to it if you do not take care of it and you are going from Florida to California. If you're doing daily, that's different, but I'm just referring to us long haul drivers who like to make that money by the mile. And if you are going to do it, it's best to drive this NPR at night because you're not worried about traffic, you're not worried about heat, and those are the two enemies of the NPR. Heat is the enemy, and traffic is the enemy. When you're sitting down, it has no time for the wind to hit, therefore it gets hot. All right. So, summary. The 97 to 2002 NPR is a proven workhorse, ideal for businesses needing reliability over luxury, best suited for short to medium range commercial use, still a strong value in today's used truck market. And again, one thing that I really appreciate about the ones that are before 2000 is the fact that if you are a MC number, uh, if you are an actual business, if you're actually looking to go across the state line, it is a rule that you have to have a ELD if your engine is younger than 2000 or newer. If your engine is a 99 or older, that is something you don't have to worry about. Now, you can have a 2015 body with a 1999 engine, and then you are going to be able to, in theory, work with a logbook. The reason why this is a huge factor is because when you think about logbooks allow in people to get more into your information as far as, hey man, you driven too much in the computer, you're not going to be able to fudge it. Everything is right there. There's have to be a tracking device on you, and if you are the owner, you don't really want that. And the reason I say you might not want that is because you might be only 30 minutes away from your house, and then you have to go for a 10-hour reset. So when we talk about the beauty of having an engine that's older than 2000, it's the fact that you don't have to abide by the ELD rules. Now, you're still going to have to do a logbook. So it is something that you're going to have to really be good at. Now, with the logbook, it has to be 7 days back is the rule. If you're not 7 days back, even if you're team driving, they can put you out of service. Now, that's something that sucks. So let's go ahead and talk about the differences of the engines. All right, so we're going to now let's go ahead and talk. So when we talk about the engine types, as far as the 98 to 2002, a few things that I noticed throughout my time is there are slight differences. The engines are really the same. The it's really is the exhaust system that is different. Now, the exhaust system is different, not on the driver side, but the passenger side. So, in order to make this correction, if you are going to change the engine, like we're going to be doing later on today, the EGR line, I did have one, it broke. So therefore, I've been on pause. You know how I go. Whenever you're looking for something, especially during Christmas time, the mail gets packed, gets packed up. Everyone is getting backed up. Everybody's looking for something, and because everybody's looking for something, it normally takes a few days to get to you, but it might take an extra week or two. Hey, blame Santa Claus. But after the EGR line comes, that's when I'm going to be able, basically be able to put the new EGR line on, as well as getting something for the exhaust system. So let's watch a video of what the problem that I'm having. All right. All right. Is that a good look? I don't know. We're gonna figure it out. All right. I think that's the bell housing right there. This is the exhaust, and this is right there. This is the top of the exhaust. Remember, whenever you're doing the exhaust, there's a couple ways to tighten it up. A lot of times with the flangs are really the nuts. The flangs oftentimes are very rusted, and oftentimes they break. When you're doing it, make it a point to really, when you're looking at whatever kind of computer software system, as far as the company you're looking for, make sure the fit is yours. One thing you don't want to do is to be like me and to think that it fits, and then you waste $20 on some things that don't even fit, and or you're going to really waste money. So make sure that it does fit. And like, that's one thing. I had to go to AutoZone to get it, and it was an easy screw in. If you don't have the easy screw in, there is a double nut technique that you can use if you don't have where it's easy to screw in. And the double nut technique will be to take the nut itself and turn it the opposite direction, have it, make sure it's stabilized, then have the other nut there. And then you take the ratchet and you ratchet it on, and this may take a while. I recommend just doing it with a ratchet. Do not use the impact gun, because if you use the impact gun, if it is the wrong size, you will really regret it. And it's best to do it with the ratchet, because if it's the wrong size, it's not going to be so hard to take off. But if you use the impact, at that point, you're like trying to force it in, and you might mess up a few things. And at that point, now you're stuck with it. So that is one thing about that when you talk about fixing the exhaust system. Another thing about fixing the exhaust system, they have a couple repair, I guess you could say, metal little hanger types, which I really feel like it's probably best to show you what I'm referring to. So this is the Flexi exhaust repair pipes that we're going to be using tomorrow. As far as I am going to have to go to the store and get those. Okay, right here. My apologies. So the ones I'll probably be using will be the Walker universal exhaust. I am going to have to measure the size of the exhaust in order to make sure that it does fit where it needs to go. When you are doing this, you can weld it. If you weld it, you're not going to have to use the rings. All right, you're not going to have to use the exhaust rings. But if you don't weld it, you're going to have to use the clamps and two exhaust rings from both sides. All right, that's if you are to not weld it. But if you weld it, I mean, my thing about that is it's always nice to have a welder on deck. I don't have one of those. My welder is in Texas, and I'm in Georgia right now, so I don't have the opportunity to have a team to really help me with that. So if you have a welder, that's good for you. But if you don't, you got to clamp it up on both sides, have the two rings there, one up top, one on bottom, and it's going to be some maneuvering. Now, you don't have to do this to the driver's side, but you are going to have to do it to the passenger side. Now, if you were to be smarter than me and was to set it up before, and when you have someone, because whenever you changing out engines, always, and I mean always, have another person with you. Even if you're the expert, even if you're the master tech that's been doing it for years, accidents happen. It's always good to be able to have someone to watch something, because I've seen the engines where the scrap falls, and if you was right there, and at that, when you're by yourself, you're most likely gonna be right there. So you don't really want them scraps to break on you. And it's kind of heavy. It's heavy. So man, it's talking about injuries. If you know, when it comes down to dealing with engines, they're heavy and it's easy to get hurt. So best safety practice will be to have a partner with you. So let's get out of the safety thought process and let's get back to how to fix it. So when dealing with the 98 to 2002, the thing I noticed was that was being one of the primary issues. Now, when you talk about all the other pieces, components, everything else on the 98 to 2002 engine, the same. It seems like it's like, as far as putting it together, everything looks the same. Now, the reason why if you are to tilt it and then connect the exhaust before connecting the bell housing and the flywheel, then at that point you may not even have to do what I'm doing with the flexi exhaust. My problem was I set the two engine bolts in first, and I didn't set the two engine bolts in and tighten them up. You really don't want to tighten them up. You want to just set them in and then have some play in it where you can move it around. And then after you have them two set in, you know that the engine's not going to rock and fall over you. After you've done that, at that point, you're going to work on putting the flywheel on and putting the nuts on the flywheel, as far as moving it, putting it on, moving it, putting it on, moving it, putting it on, and then the bell housing. Now, I believe it's probably best to do the bell housing first and then do the flywheel. But the primary thing is to put it down, put the two engine bolts in first, do not tighten it up, then set up the bell housing, the top of the bell housing, them screws. All right, not tight. Don't tighten it all the way up. Make it loose. Everything is loose. All right. And the reason why you do everything loose at first is because you need some play in it. And the last thing you want to do is to tighten up the engine bolts and then try to do the bell housing, because if you do that, then you have no play. And at that point, it's not, you're going to be sitting there all day. It's not going to work. So you always want to keep some play in it. And then after you get a little play in it, it's tilted. You put the bell housing nuts on. Once you put the bell housing nuts on, then you can go ahead and put the flywheel nuts on. And then once you put the flywheel nuts on, at that point, if you were better than me, then you will start setting up the exhaust at the same time. Those are the three things that you need to set up. Actually, four things you need to set up before trying to tighten things up. Now, once you've done those four things, as far as putting a new engine into an old NPR body, then you can tighten it up. Again, you want to first do the engine bolts first. So the engine mounts, both sides, a left and right. Once you set that up, then you take care of the bell housing. Then you take care of the flywheel. Again, you're not tightening it up yet. Then you take care of the passenger exhaust pipe. And then once you've done those four things, you tighten all four of those things up. You might even want to tighten up the exhaust right after. And just after that, you go tighten up the exhaust, then tighten up the engine bolts, then tighten up the bell house, and tighten up the flywheel. While doing this, you probably I did kind of skip a step because, well, I really didn't skip a step because we didn't talk about the fact that you need a jack underneath the transmission. That's one thing that I did forget to say. At the same time, I'm hoping that if you were to take out an engine, you kind of know that. At the same time, let's not assume your knowledge, because the last thing you want to do is assume another person's knowledge, especially if you're just learning and you're thinking about it. And the thing is, it's harder than what you think, but it's easier to mess up if you think it's easy. It's easy to mess up if you think it's easy, but it's a lot easier than what you think it is. It's kind of funny. It's like that. But yeah, when you talk about the getting this, I'll probably be looking at getting a Walker Universal I'm going to have to first do some measurements, and then I'm going to have to get the clamps. So yeah, there's going to be clamps that's going to be needed. All right. So let's take a look at this a little bit more of the video of actually trying to fix it, and we can go over where I was
So
messing
here
up.
we Tech Millie, and again, I kind of did this a couple ways. Like this disconnect is coming from. Just slightly. Whoa, let's. Okay.
I think is this the driver's side? The driver's side was so easy. Oh yeah, this is definitely the passenger side, because the reason why this didn't work again was because that bell housing for the 2002 just happens to be a little bit bigger than the 98. So what I was doing, I was using the jack. I was using two different jacks. I was using one jack on the engine body. I should have had a block
Does
on the
make a
engine
difference,
body. That's one thing I was
but I
making
don't think much of
mess.
a difference. All right.
All right, so the way I was messing up was again not really thinking about the difference of the size of the bell housing. The bell housing is just a little bit too big, and because the bell housing is just a little bit too big and it's already set in there, now I'm going to have to do the exhaust, the extra exhaust repair. Now if you notice this right here, this right here is that metal device I was talking about, where you can use it to repair your exhaust. And all it is like it's a little hanger, looks like a little hanger, and hangs over the metal piece. And then it has a flange on it as well. And you just screw up the nuts. If you're doing this, do not use, if it's three, like right now, it's three flanges that's needed. Use all three flanges. If you use two flanges, it will be exhaust will be leaking, and then you'll have a lot of probably smoke that's coming up from where you're at, and then at that point you're probably going to be inhaling some CO2 or whatever, some carbon monoxide while you're driving, as well as you're going to have some loss of power. That's what's going to happen, because the reason why you're going to have that is because if you don't use three, is going to allow even it can even fall off while you're driving, because you might hit something and then it breaks off while you're driving. At that point, you're on the side of the road hoping that you can find a mechanic, and then you got O2 sensors you got to take care of, as well as trying to figure out who's going to come out there to help repair it. Because if you're out on the road and you're doing any kind of OTR, all repairs over the road is super expensive. One thing about the NPR is the fact that it is still small enough to find someone willing to haul it off to your house or your business. And this is important because if you have a 26-foot box truck, it's not that many trucks that's able to really take care of it. You're going to have to deal with an F550 or above. A F350 is not big enough to take care of a box truck that's 26 feet, but it is big enough to take care of a 18-foot box truck, maybe even a 20-foot box truck for real. But at the same time, it is not big enough to take care of a um, a 26-foot box truck. And that right there is critical, because whenever you're on the road, you always got to think about worst case scenarios. So let me go ahead and find the that repair. Yeah, let's look at it. There you go. So this is what was used. This was car modified exhaust manifold clamp repair kit. And you can, as you see, it's very simple and easy to use. Now, the thing is, if you can use the flangs, use them. I just like this because when it comes down to it, nobody really wants to do any kind of welding for the most part. That's one thing. If you can avoid welding, I will recommend avoid welding. Get this where, yeah. And again, you're kind of getting it over the lip, and then you're bringing it down, and you are putting the nut right there. When we talk about the NPRs, to my understanding, at least with the 97 to 98, is three flangs. All right, the flangs again is like the screw is the long portion of this. The flangs would be this long, I guess nail portion or screw portion, and then the nut again needs to go there. And again, if you have three flangs, use all three. Do not use, hold on, my apologies. Do not think that you are going to make it if you were to use 2 out of 3. If you do 2 out of 3, there will be issues down the line. Again, when you're driving, you bump something on the road, and then at that point, now you have a heavier bill, or what's going to happen, you're going to have a loss of power and things of that nature. One thing that you want to have to do too when you're doing this kind of repair too is make sure that you have that exhaust ring. That exhaust ring is needed as well. So that is one way you could repair it. And another way you could repair it is to actually replace the flanges, because again, them flanges break. All right. And it's easy to break the flanges. It's especially when they are old and rusted. And again, the flange, this right here is technically the flange right there. That's the flange. Now the flange, if you were to just repair the flange itself, you would have to do the two nut uh the two nut technique, or if you're lucky, you can just screw it in. One of the two. Let me see. Yeah, let's go ahead and move on. So what I like to do now, I would like to oh yeah, just real quick. So again, this right here is a the gasket that's needed, the exhaust pipe gasket. Again, you want to replace it with the new one. Do not use an old one. If you use an old one, it's most likely going to be defective. All right, make it a point to use it new. Don't be cheap. You know, when it comes down to it, you be cheap, you'll pay for it. Um, Also, do not use these right here. Don't use these. This is not what you want to use. And the reason why you don't want to use it is because it's 3, not 2. If it was 2, then you probably could use it. But since it's 3 flanges, you can't use this. If you use this, you're gonna be your feelings are gonna get hurt. All right. Let's go ahead, and I would like to watch a little bit more video on it. And
Oh,
after that,
no.
Man, it seems like
This right
whenever
here,
you
see how
trying.
I go, and then try to come back and put it back on if I can see, because I feel like that one component is stopping it from really getting where it need to go. Or you know what I can do? I could literally lift the engine, lift the transmission up a little bit. That's what I might have to do, and might help.
Yeah, that didn't help.
Just a little bit. More support, Pop. More support. Seen, I've been out here all day trying to do this.
I've been doing those leads, son.
Yeah.
I need more support. More support.
Ooh, we got glass on this. Okay. All right. So if I do it like this, it come up.
Yeah, that didn't work out. On the other side, it worked out. Um, for the most part. So let's look at the other side.
Like I feel like it might be. I'm gonna try it without it and see how it worked, and then add it. I did the other one. See how it lines up. Let's piece that piece. Okay. Maybe I need to revise the plan. Because apparently what's going on is this is just too long. It's going to be slightly off. But the thing is, once it gets up there and it's tightened up, I might do this. So yeah, what I'm going to do, I'm going to the store and I need to get one more of these. Because this flame is too long as far as this is concerned. Because even if I put it all the way, one more of these. Because this flame is too long as far as this is concerned. Because even if I put it all the way in, it's going to be dang near, you know, right there.
Oh, this has got to be.
Why? Because this is so short.
Yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like I can play with it more.
This is
so we're going to come right back.
Back to the passenger side. That's not even the I'm looking for. Yeah, I guess it's this one right here. Because that passenger side, I'm telling you, it was killing me.
Really?
Okay, see, it's on the opposite direction where I'm trying to start off. Putting that nut on the opposite direction.
Bump it. We're going to try it. No, it's always something, bruv.
Yeah, I was trying to take the old flang out. Yeah, I was like, you know what? We're gonna work with it. Yeah.
At least I didn't get too far in.
With this one right here, what I did, I used one of the original flangs, and I had to put that one new flang in, and then I used that the engine repair one, where I guess the metal bracket that was used. What's that thing called again? Use the correct terminology. The car modified exhaust manifold clamp repair kit. Yeah, yeah. I had to take it off because I forgot to put the ring in for a second.
Let's go. Breathe.
Yeah, make it a point to breathe,
So
man.
boom. I got it on. Now let's see if this will do it. I've been messing with it, so that's one reason why I was doing that. I've never messed with it and just say it is what it is. It would have been all right, but instead, you know, that being overly anxious messes up things. But at the same time, we're gonna work with what we got. Yeah, so took me a minute. So it's a mix. Yeah, it took me a minute, but yeah. One side.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and let's sum it up what's going on. All right. So tomorrow I will be the EGR line is just arrived. So I'm very excited about that. So EGR line, the one I'm referring to, is this one right here. I got it for $54.74 off of Parts Geek. I really like Parts Geek. It's the exhaust. It's just the exhaust gas line for the most part. And yeah. After that, also the only thing that's really left is to do the passenger side, which again I'm gonna have to get the flexi, the clamps, and two of the rings, which I already got the two rings for the most part. And then once I'm done with that, make sure everything's tightened up. Then we can put some of that flush in there to make sure the engine is flushed out. Put some engine in there, let it run for a little bit, then then do an oil change, and then put a new oil in there and things of that nature. Yeah, so I'm pretty excited about tomorrow because this is supposed to arrive today. So I will be able to, I say tomorrow, I will be able to take care of it today. So I'm very excited about that. Outside that, I hope that you learned something. Again, if you are a car lover, this place is for you. I would like to be able to talk to a few other people about it. I know my man, Fast, what's his name again? Darius, he said he wanted to do some car talk with me and everything like that. But you know how mechanics are. He's just busy trying to make that money and everything like that. So I know it's a couple other people that would like to kind of talk. My man Paul, he real good when it comes to mechanical stuff. I know he's been busy. And then my man Christian and Chi Town, they've been helping me out and making sure that things are great. And Tori, and Tori too. So long story short, man, we're gonna be doing some more projects once this is complete, once the NPR is complete. I also have the fuel line coming around the same time. Hopefully, the fuel line is going to be here tomorrow too for the F350. If I can complete both those by tomorrow, then I can start work on the F150. I'm not going to be trying to get out on the road right away, just because what I'll probably try to do is to try to make some short drives around just Atlanta. So I probably will try to contact some people about some work around the way, just so that way I can get a few test drives in and kind of see where I'm at, because it's best to break down in your town and not break down all the way in Florida, you know. So with that being said, I really appreciate y'all time. Like, comment, subscribe, make it a point to leave a little comment about what you think about the presentation. I mean, my whole thing about it is eventually I'm gonna be doing more presentations when it comes to other vehicles. Some vehicles I'm gonna be looking at is the G35. That's one that I've already flipped one, but I really and truly I'll probably be looking at Infinities, period. Then when we talk about Camrys, those are ones I'm looking at as well as the F series. I know that I was first thinking about getting a bunch of F-150s, but now that I know that I'm gonna have to get like an F-750 or F-550 to really do what I really want to do, I'm just looking at the F series, period. So right now we got that F-350, the F-150, F-350. I'll probably set F-350 and upgrade it to an F-550, something of that nature. And then when we talk about the F-150, I'll probably try to get something that's small like that, just so it can be. Of course, I'm selling them too. So I'm looking to sell the F-350 after I get another get an F-550, or I might just sell the F-350 and then get the F-550. Who knows how I'm gonna do it? But long story short, I just know that it's gonna be some new cars coming, new trucks coming, and we're gonna be selling the box truck. I'm even sell the box truck. This box truck is going to be sold, and I'm looking to get a 26-foot box truck after a while. But I really want to get a F550 or better, F750, F650 before I get the 26 footer, because I'm one of them people. When the NPR was down, I had to go get it. I had to try to get it, and I was unsuccessful. So I want to be able to have a truck big enough, so if I needed to run and get that truck myself, I can do that. That's the level I'm trying to be at. I don't want to be at the level where I have to pay someone anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000 to get something. I'm good. I'll pay myself, and that type deal. So yeah, go ahead and let me know what's your favorite F series. Not F series. Let me know what you think about the NPR. If you feel like it's a great vehicle or not, go ahead and let me know. Like, comment, subscribe. Please go ahead and press that like button, and I'm gonna get back to you tomorrow. And I look forward to fixing up that truck and getting it on the road. All right. Until next time. Hmm.